Hi, this is Sylvia McCrory with Christian Parenting Today, and today's topic is how to avoid the 5 biggest mistakes parents are making today. So we're going to jump right in with these and go over a few things and hope uh, that you will be more aware and try to avoid these things. So the first one is lack of faith. Today, we live in a world where we want to do everything ourselves, and we tend to have a lack of faith in God to handle the issues that we are dealing with and to handle the things that we are going through. And also, we have a lack of faith in our children. We want to, we are more involved, but we also um, are not giving our children the chance to show what they can do. So let me also refer to the Bible with that. So in 2 Corinthians 5:7 it says, "We live by faith, not by sight." The more that we show our faith in God and in our children, the more that they are building their own faith for God. And in Luke chapter 1, verse 37, it says, "For nothing is impossible with God." In order to live our faith, we've got to believe it. So we need to have that faith and we need to live it. So we need to show that we have faith and not that lack of faith. Number 2 is giving children too much. We live in a world, especially in the United States, where children have so many things and want so many things, and parents want so many things, and they want them for their children as well. But in most cases, we're giving our children too much. There's a saying that goes something like this: people who have everything are grateful for nothing, but people who have nothing are grateful for everything. Think about that for a minute and let that sink in. We need to um, allow our children to want things and not get that instant gratification. Also, by giving them too much, we are setting them on the path for greed, and we certainly don't want that. Let me just share a couple of verses from the Bible on greed. In Luke chapter 12, verse 15, it says, "Then he said to them, 'Watch out, be on your guard against all kinds of greed. A man's life does not consist in the abundance of his possessions.'" I'm afraid that's the society we're living in today, that we're worried more about our possessions than what our life is really going to show for. And then in 1 Timothy chapter 6, verse 10, "For the love of money is a root of all kinds of evil. Some people, eager for money, have wandered from the faith and pierced themselves with many griefs." I know many people, um, when I was growing up, we didn't have the advantages that we have today. And as I think back on those times and those people, um, the, the, the people that had the less, they were the ones that were so grateful. And they were the ones that were fun to be around. And they were able to make toys out of nothing. And so anyway, my whole thing is we don't have to buy everything for our children. I'm not saying that there's wrong in that in and of itself, but we need to be on our guard that we're not becoming greedy and allowing our children to become greedy. Number 3, uh, many parents have taken away responsibilities from children. Today, if there's a problem if a child has a problem with another child, parents are always jumping to, well, what did the other child do wrong? Instead of, maybe, is there something you could have done differently? What do you think that other person was thinking? The same thing like with school and grades. If a child brings home a bad grade, the question should not be, well, did the teacher explain that right? The question should be, did you ask the right question? Let the responsibility be theirs. Let them suffer a little along the way. It will do them more good than harm. The more you try to take that away from them, the harder it's going to be. Um, so a couple of verses in the Bible about responsibility. From Galatians chapter 6, verse 5. For each one should carry his own load. We need to be responsible for what we do. And Luke chapter 16, verse 10 says, whoever can be trusted with very little can also be trusted with much. And whoever is dishonest with very little will also be dishonest with much. Give them the opportunity to have the responsibility to prove they are worthy, to prove they can handle things. Number 4, not stepping away. Parents are not stepping back. They are wanting their children, they're wanting to be a part of everything, and they're wanting to oversee everything. It's great to be involved, but not to the point that we are smothering our children. We need to let our children do some things for themselves. We need to step back. You know what? And also let them be bored. Boredom is a great thing. Let them be bored. Let them figure out how to handle things. As a matter of fact, I may do a vlog on boredom, because that is something that's great and something we do not allow our children to have. All right, and number 5, our last one, is parents today are too controlling. Many parents want to orchestrate everything their children does from the time they get up until the time they go to bed, and not only day by day, but week by week and month by month, that our children don't know what to do if parents are not standing there looking over their shoulder every minute. We need to let them have some control over their lives. You know, as children, they don't have that many things that they can be in control of. Let's start letting them to be in control, because when they move away and leave us, we are no longer in control, and we want to have had the opportunity to guide them to make right decisions, and to guide them if they've stepped off the path to get back on the path. So I just wanted to share a few verses there. Proverbs 25, verse 28 says, like a city whose walls are broken down is a man who lacks self-control. So for that one, I'm saying for parents, you need to have that self-control. Don't handle everything for your children. Matthew chapter 6, verse 34. Therefore, do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself. Each day has enough trouble of its own. I have seen parents who are so worried about their children's college that they cannot enjoy today and this moment. That will take care of itself. I'm not saying we shouldn't prepare, but what I am saying is we should not be so fixated on that one thing that we forget to enjoy the time that we have. We don't need to be that controlling. Children in kindergarten do not need to be worried about college. Let them be children for as long as possible, because the world we live in today takes that childhood away from them all too soon. Have a great day. This is Sylvia McCrory with Christian Parenting Today. And don't forget to click on subscribe.